Hello, everybody. David Anderson here, signing on CMS Twitch channel. Race upcoming here this morning in our iRacing Team Series Support Series, which is the Porsche Cup. We are 7 this morning, Lake Wisconsin. Absolutely track. iRacing recently redid some things. See some of the scenery, track, some of the just iconic turns and summer around the track. NASCAR's racing this weekend on this track as well. Our drivers are out here and super excited to watch them race. So let's jump right in and kind of follow them in qualifying. Out here with Michael Parker, its leader right now. Michael continues to be strong in this series. He's on his outlap right now. Watch him here as he rides around and takes the flag for. Michael's won the last 2 races in a row. He also handed it overall, but quite a few positions are up grabs here as well, and some great prizes, both CMS as well as sponsors. Penguin Simulation, who you see their logo here on our screen, they are giving some fantastic prizes to the on our podium. So coming into this race, as we watch Michael go, he has a pretty significant points lead. So he struggles here in the last couple of. I do not expect him to do. He is in position for the championship. He got 4 wins so far, 6 races. He's won 2 in a row. Third. He is followed by Tristan Martz. Tristan is second place on the. It's 165 points to Michael's. And then Brian Sabelski is in position rank, the 100. On the outside looking in, got some drivers that have a shot realistically at that last podium spot. Joe Stifle and Mark Johnson. Those are kind of your main. And then, of course, we got a whole bunch of guys out here that are just hunting trophies this weekend. So it's going to be fun to kind of watch that as well. So excited about it. Let's ride along here with Michael. Watch him take a lap around Road America. Really smooth on his inputs, as always. That's why this gentleman is such a great driver. We've got about 15 guys here today. Watch Michael go all the way down the hill here, hard braking zone where he's going to make this left-hander. See him really working the wheel. Tricky turn here before you get to the carousel. The iconic Johnsonville Broad speed wheel sign. It's been at that location. Sadly, the Billy Mitchell Bridge is no longer there. And, of course, the iconic Canada corner that Michael just went through as well. Where the Billy Mitchell Bridge is just beyond. And here's a lap around Road America. Let's see where this guy comes in. We're going to see the timing start to come in right away. Michael with a 209.440. That is provisionally on the pole. Brian Sohn has got a lap in as well. Let's ride along with maybe some other drivers. Let's look at our second man in the points. This is Tristan March. Tristan coming around now to get his first lap on the board. All the way down the straightaway. Let's see where he can grid up on his first lap. I'm thinking the first lap is probably your fastest lap. Looks like Tristan must have had an incident. His time was not counted. He had a 2:11.676. But not counted. Let's ride with Brian Sabelski. Brian's our third. So let's get on board. Brian on a timed lap right now. As we watch the qualifying, Michael Parker currently on the pole provisionally. David Nelson in second position with a phenomenal lap for David. Gabriel Albano in third right now. James Andrew, Joe Stifel, Mark Johnson. That's kind of how the order looks at the moment. Ride along with Brian Sabelski, see what he can do here. We've got a new provisional pole sitter. Shane Hunter has taken the pole away from Michael Parker. These guys are all on second laps, though. We're going to stick with Brian Sabelski here. Making the run down towards Canada Corner. Brian really needs a good qualifying. He's in that third position on the podium, and to be able to, I think, confidently stay there, he really needs a good, solid starting position here. Comes final corner. Climb this big hill. Seems like it takes you forever to get to the top of this thing. Then you see the start-finish line in the stand. Michael Parker has reclaimed the pole, the 2:08.8. Brian with a beautiful qualifying lap all the way up to fourth position, 2:09.943. Looks like Shane Hunter is still on the track. Let's see if he's got anything from Michael Parker. On with our drones. He goes through all this tree-lined area of Road America. It's just gorgeous out here. See him coming at us here around this corner. Heading down into Canada. Here he comes. Shane has say about this pole. Climbing the hill. Second position right now. Needs to pick up about 3 or 4 tenths. And he picks up a little bit, but not enough to take Michael Parker. And I think that's going to mean that Michael Parker... Oh, we actually have at the last minute, Blake Reynolds has come in and taken the pole. We did not follow Blake, but with a 2:08.004, Blake Reynolds gets the pole and snatches it right at the end of the session. So, wow, that was pretty phenomenal to see that happen. So, this is going to be one heck of a race. So, give you guys a rundown before we get ready to grid up here. Drivers have about 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes to get ready to grid up. And so I'll go ahead and go starting line. What an exciting qualifying. So Blake Reynolds, who we did not get a chance to ride with, he snuck up on us, which is not surprising. Blake is part of the Pink RC Simulation esports team and has been really, really strong in this series. He's not won a race yet, several of them. And he is one of the drivers on that outside looking podium. Blake takes his pole today with a 2:08. Michael Parker will start alongside him outside of the front row. Shane Hunter, solid qualifying. Joe Stifel, better qualifying of Chad Dick will start P5. David 6. Edward Nelson, P7, Tristan Martz, P, Brian Sabelski, P. So that has kind of opened the with Tristan and Brian being back in the field. Some of these other guys certainly have an opportunity. There are a couple of guys, several kind of in the back. James Andrew had kind of a not that great of qualifying. And James is been a driver, though, on the move standings. He's really driving well. I've also the Longhorn from Longhorn Racing of Mark Johnson, um, Brett Stevens will be back of the. So those are going to be a couple of drivers that are charging, sure, up through the. So this is going to be pretty exciting. Let's take a look at these awesome cars here. We're on the pole grid view here. Looking at Blake Reynolds, our pole sitter. How cool is this? Just look at this Penguin C car. All the way around it. Just walk around this sucker. Just look at how great it looks. Zoom out a little bit to the grid. Michael Parker there alongside Blake, and this is our. I believe they will have to do a full parade lap here. Zoom out. See these guys looking great. They roll off. All right, full parade lap here around Road America. It's going to take them a little bit of time. So while we're doing, I'm going to make announcements on behalf of the series. So first of all, just a little bit of a, if you're tuning in for the first time, a little bit of a recap on what this series is and kind of what we're. This is the CMS iRacing Team Endurance Series support series, which we run, which is really, really fun. So we have a wonderful Team Endurance sports car series, and this particular series that we do in conjunction with is the support series for that. All these races are fixed setup, and generally the schedule for the series follows the iRace Team Endurance Series big events, and they run the week before. But in the case of today, this happens to be one of the two standalone events that the series has, where it's just its own show. They had one earlier in March at Laguna Seca, and then this one here in America. This is second to the last round of the series, and they will wrap up next week at Watkins Glen. So 2 American iconic tracks to finish the schedule. They've been all over the world. It's been a really, really fun series so far in season, and really excited to see what they do these last couple of races for us to settle the championship. The series, again, sponsored by Penguin RC Simulation. Brian Sohn and his team. Check them out. Just look up Penguin RC Sim, and lots of great button boxes and sim gear and wheels and just phenomenal stuff that you can get from Penguin RC. You can also see that they sponsor a car in the series, and so we've got Blake Reynolds driving their machine today. And excited. We've got some points up for grabs. I'm going to try to follow in particular how our current podium sitters are doing and those guys that are on the outside looking in. So some of the drivers that we're really focused on today, of course, our championship leader, Michael Parker, Martz, Brian Sabelski. Those are the top 3 right now. But Joe Stifel, Ed Nelson, Mark Johnson, James Andrew, Blake Reynolds, those are all guys that, and everybody's here today from that group. So we want to kind of track how they all do. All right, they're going to come down here to Kanika Court, just a few away from starting the race. Canada corner now. Such an awesome turn. Iconic corner. There's where the Billy Mitchell Bridge was. Has since been removed. He's looking out the front of his car as they're going to. His car peels off and we're about to race at road. Climb this hill. Here they go. I'm gonna wave any second. There it is. It's out. Blake Reynolds gets a solid run down the front stretch. Michael Parker up alongside him. See the green flag waving. Lots of movement around back. Somebody peeks out. That's David Nelson. He's in the grass. Nelson's in the grass. And he's off. Go back and see what happened to David. He's rejoined. You can see him at the back of the field, but David Nelson looked out, peeked out, got on the grass. Don't know if he hit anything. We're going to go back and watch that here in just a few minutes. But Blake Reynolds is comfortably out in front. The rest of the field got away just fine. Nobody else was involved in that issue other than David. So lucky for him and the field. There was no harm, no foul. David has rejoined as well. You have found, as is the case in a lot of these races, that if you can get out front, kind of lead from the beginning, and that's what Blake Reynolds has done. It's awfully hard to get caught if you're one of these really fast drivers. It's like Gabriel Bono maybe has had a problem. Going to go back and check in on that after we kind of see the first lap here. They're making the run down to Canada corner now. Blake Reynolds in first. Michael Parker in second. Shane Hunter in third. Joe Stifel shortly behind. Look at this. Joe Stifel is off. Oh, no. Terrible for Joe Stifel. Looked like he knew he had too much speed. Oh, my goodness. Okay, we've got a few things to go back and look at here. Let's start with the David Nelson issue. Here it is. Here's David at the start. Gets on the grass. Slides out in front of everybody. Doesn't hit anything. And then you can see just kind of comes back and rejoins the track. Okay, after that, Gabriel Bono. Here's inside with Gabriel. He makes an issue. Kind of goes off track of his own. Doesn't hit anything. Rejoins. You can see David Nelson coming around. And then here's the Joe Stifel incident. It's Joe. It's almost like he just knew he had too much speed. Joe doesn't hit anything either. Looks like we've had another issue since then. Here's down going into turn one. Mark Johnson and Brian Sohn get into each other. Let's watch this from Brian Sohn. Big lockup for Mark. Brian spins out. Wow. The guys are struggling here in the heat at Road America. Meanwhile, out front, we had a lot of action on that first lap. Out front, we've got Blake Reynolds, who has managed to get out to about a 3 or 4 car length lead now over Michael Parker. Shane Hunter continues to be in third position. Chad Dick finds himself all the way up to P4 after that. Let's ride along with Shane Hunter as he follows the first two. So we'll set our top 5. Blake Reynolds in first, so you can see out front here in this shot. Michael Parker just behind him in P2. Shane Hunter, who we ride along with now in P3. Chad Dick is in 4. Tristan Martz, after the tough qualifying, he and Brian Sabelski have both capitalized on all those mistakes from the other drivers, and they are both all the way up now to P5 and P6, as well as Brett Stevens, who started dead last, shotgun on the field. Brett Stevens now up to 7th position. Ooh, getting some grass there for Shane. Looks like Michael Parker is starting to put the pressure on Blake Reynolds up ahead. Up here's Parker. He's going to look. He's making a look. Holds him off. Can Michael get a good run here off the final corner? Shane gets a good run. Chad Dick sticking with these guys really well. Well, Parker, I don't think he's close. He's going to try it. Michael Parker's going to try to send this on the inside of Blake Reynolds. Backs out of it. And really, although Michael wants this win, would like to have 3 in a row, he knows that he can't afford some sort of a DNF or something like that. That's the last thing he wants to do, is go into Watkins Glen next week and kind of let somebody else back in the championship. So I expect that he'll be aggressive, as he always is, but not overly aggressive. He's going to look here, see if he can outbreak Blake. Oh, I think he's going to do it. Wow, what a pass by Michael Parker. That was nice. And he is in the lead. That is the way you do it, folks. Just as I say, he's not going to take any risk. He gets in there hard on the brakes, outbreaks Blake Reynolds, and takes over the lead. Let's see if he can set sail. It's like Brian Sohn may have had another issue. Here's Brian. Car snaps loose on him. Don't hit that wall, Brian. Don't hit that wall. Stay off of it. Got a hell of a race going on up front here. Nice little battle developing here. 3rd and 4th position. Chad Dick, Shane Hunter. You can see Chad is in this orange machine, orange and charcoal machine, as he rides along down into Canada Corner. Are close up front. We're about 8 minutes into the 30-minute race. These races are short. They use fixed setups. I don't know if I had mentioned that earlier. I may have failed to. But everybody's in the baseline setup. This is a driver's series, very similar to IROC or something along those lines. We'll be able to see kind of what the drivers can do, paired cars and setups. Top 4 just on top of each other here. Riding on board here now with Shane Hunter. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, a really, really nice recovery out of David Nelson. Just set the fastest lap of the race, the 2:09.495. So David was really fast. Let's see how he's looking. Car looks okay. This is David. So he had that excursion right at the beginning of the race in this canary yellow machine, but didn't hit anything. You can see kind of some dirt and grime on the front of the splitter of this thing, but just set the fastest lap of the race. See him pulling away from the car behind. We come back and join our leaders again, watching Chad Dick, who looks like Chad is a little bit better than Shane. He really wants around him. Michael Parker has not been able to shake Blake Reynolds, but about a 4/10 second lead right now. And let's check just behind these guys. We've got a really good race going on here as well. This is a solid battle. We've got several cars together here. This is Tristan Martz, who we ride along with. Brett Stevens just behind him. James Andrew as well. So we've got a really solid race here. Brian Sabelski just a little ahead of them. You can see Brian in the orange white machine just a little bit ahead of this group. But this is a meaningful battle as well, because these are those guys with Brian and Tristan kind of holding on to those podium spots. And of this group, really probably the driver in this particular patch, of course, Blake Reynolds is up front. And so Blake with an opportunity is all over the back of Michael Parker again. So I'm going to go back to that. Here's Blake, currently running in P2. He's on the outside looking in that final podium spot. And of those drivers on the outside looking in, it's really probably having the best race so far. But Sabelski and Martz are doing what they need to do, running in 5th and 6th position. That's back here. This is Sabelski. Just behind him here is Martz. So, and then that's Brett Stevens giving chase to them. They're doing what they need to do to cover off some of these other guys, right? Mark Johnson, Joe Stifel are a couple of the guys that could give chase. They're having trouble. James Andrews kind of holding strong, but he's behind them. So as of now, I think the podium spots that we see here coming into the race with these three drivers, Parker, Sabelski, and Martz, are actually Parker, Martz, and Sabelski in that order, are fairly solid at the moment. Looks like Tristan Martz may have had an issue here. Let's go back. Yeah, he does. Watch this. Just a little spin. That's not what he needed. Oh, Tristan. Doesn't hit anything. That's going to drop him back to 10th position. It's hot out here on this track right now. Summer day. See the leaders just ahead. This is Brian Sabelski just behind them, who ride along here now. So Brian has managed to kind of put himself in a little buffer. While we have the leaders. Let's watch the leaders come at us at speed here. They come. Parker and Reynolds. Wow. Let's get a sense of speed for what they're doing. Here they come. All four of them. Here's Sabelski, that 5th car. Brett Stevens in 6th, who you see enter the picture. Here they come again. We've got these cameras positioned all the way around the track. Around the final corner. Here's all four of them coming right at you. Parker, Reynolds, Hunter, Dick, Sabelski. Climbing that hill. I love it. Get a great sense of speed kind of watching that. But we have got one heck of a race. Looks like Reynolds is going to make a move on Parker. Going down into 1. Can he make it stick? He does. And we've had a second change for the lead here. Woo. Parker going to battle right back. He's on the tail of... And he's going to try to get him. Can't quite do it. Woo. What a race. And these two getting battly up front are going to let Shane Hunter and Chad Dick have something to say about this thing, because those two guys are not going anywhere. In fact, here comes Shane Hunter. He's going to try to look inside Michael Parker. Wide entry there into the corner. Blake Reynolds. What a race. Watch this from Chad Dick's view. He's got the best view of this whole thing. Fourth position out of these four. Reynolds has now built a little bit of a gap, about the biggest lead we've seen, about a second now over Parker. So he has kind of set off to the races here. Blake seems to do that. We've noticed that with him in other races. He'll kind of start slow and then charge fast. I don't know if it's just kind of lack of track time that he gets. He's obviously busy, has a lot of things going on. He is definitely super talented. Seems to get faster and faster as the race goes on. Let's give a shout out here to Brett Stevens. So I want to ride along with Brett here. You can see him started dead last today in 14th position in this Longhorn Cup car, and all the way up to 6th position, and looking really, really strong. That's James Andrew behind him. James has had a really strong second half of the season himself. This is probably our biggest mover on the day here so far. Watch right along here a second with Brett. Really good. On the other end of this is Mark Johnson, and Mark's having all kinds of trouble here. Like he may have had another issue. Let's watch this. This is Mark Johnson. Just loses it. Loses it. It's the wall. I think he's headed into the pits for a fast repair. Very uncharacteristic. Tough race. You can see the car. Mark was one of those drivers that I felt like had a shot at getting the podium standings. This car's in a lot of trouble. You can see the wheels just not rolling straight on this vehicle. He's coming in for fast repair, certainly. And he's gonna, it looks like he's actually come on in and retired the car. So unfortunately, Mark is our first DNF in the race. That's a shame, but I think that's probably be the end of his run for the podium. Coming into this race, Martin sitting in 6th position, and with a realistic shot, but by having a DNF here today, that's not gonna at all. A little bit of a gap here starting to develop now with Parker and building a little bit of gap on Hunter and Dick. Oh. Wide. Wide for Parker's all over him. Parker gets a better run. I bet we're about to see another run down into turn 1. Here it is. See another lead change. On the inside of Reynolds. It's going to give way first. Ew, they're side by side. And Shane Hunter and Chad Dick are loving this, because them being side by side has let these two guys right back into this thing. What a race. 4 cars. Throw a blanket over them, folks. That is just terrific. Reynolds maintains the lead through all that. Briefly, Parker kind of got in front of him, it looked like. It's hard to leave these four. This is kind of where the action is. And I think any one of these four drivers could win this race. About 10 minutes left. We're about 2/3 of the way through the event. I will quickly do a rundown for you all. So Mark Johnson, we talked about, retired. Let's look at Brian Sohn. This is Brian. He's in 13. Brian had a couple of issues of his own, so just kind of trying to get to the finish line. David Nelson has fallen again back to 12th position. So David, has shown some tremendous pace, set the fastest lap of the race at one point, but had that excursion in the first corner and has just kind of struggled for consistency. Edward Nelson with a little damage on the front end of this car, you can see. This is disappointing for Edward. He did a better race today. One of the drivers on the outside looking in. Tristan Martz. Tristan had the spin that we saw. He's in 10th position, so this is certainly going to make things interesting with his finish if he cannot improve upon this. He's chasing Joe Stifle just ahead. Gabriel Bono is a few seconds ahead of them. So this is Gabriel Bono in this red-rimmed swap shop Porsche, and he is chasing James Andrew. You see here, James in 7th position. Brett Stevens, we talked about earlier, he's been our hard charger in 6th. Brian Sabelski having a really solid run in 5th position. He's kind of on an island by himself. He's kind of a little bit slower than the guys that he's chasing and a little bit faster than the guys that are behind him. Brian having the run he needs to kind of stay where he needs to, and in fact could find himself maybe swapping positions with Tristan Martz in that podium position of P2 versus P3. And then these are our leaders up front, and these guys have been hitting it. So we ride along with Chad Dick. He is Shane Hunter right ahead of him, Michael Parker and Blake Reynolds, and the four of these cars have not been more than a few car lengths apart from each other the entire time we have been in this race. So I think any one of these guys has shown today that they have got the capability to win this race. And it's interesting, Shane Hunter, newer to the series. This is only his second race, and has shown some potential, but it's not really been. He's 21st position in the points because he just hasn't run any races. And Chad Dick has run a few races. He's been kind of a part-timer in the series, and he's been solid when he's run, but finds himself back in 15th position. So the interesting thing with these two guys is that neither of them has any care in the world other than to just win this race. And look, as we look, Parker is again taking a look on Reynolds. Back on board Chad Dick. Blake out front. So we've kind of got three groupings of cars all along the track right now. We've got this group as our leaders. Sabelski is the one sort of on his own guy in a sandwich. And then we've got 6, 7, and 8. And Brett Stevens in 6th, James Andrews 7th, Gabriel Bono in 8th. That's kind of our second group of cars, and then 9 through 12 are kind of their own group of cars. So kind of three distinct. It's the best battle. It's been up front here. See Chad Dick looking at Shane Hunter trying to figure a way around. Six minutes left in the race. I think we've got about 3 laps here at the line. This thing is going to Brian Sabelski is catching these guys. I think they're battling so much that he's kind of catching them. Don't know that he's got anything for him as far as getting up here and decision for the win unless they get together, which we saw that actually. We saw Tristan Marks win a race at Le Mans earlier in the season from about 4th position with 3 laps left in the race. As the guys ahead got to tangling. A couple of quick announcements. Again, we will have the finale of this series next week, same time, same channel, and the crown our champion at that race at Watkins Glen. So that'll bring season 2. And then 2 weeks later from there, or excuse me, 1 week later from our iRTES race at Watkins Glen, which is also the season finale for the iRTES series. So everything coming to our top-level sports car endurance series for the 2020 season. Expect to have both series back, both Porsche Cup as well as iRTES, and I believe I can comfortably say that we plan to do it bigger and better and put even more focus on both of these next season. And should be some really fun announcements that we'll be making, and hopefully bring some of our sponsors back for another year. And then, of course, all kinds of great things going on with iRacing here at CMS. We've got our Wednesday night GT3 Sprint Series, as well as our Friday night Truck Series. Brett Stevens, the winner of that race Friday night, having a great run here today. Michael Parker has just set the new fastest lap of the race, a 2:09. So he is really pedaling, but Blake Reynolds has got that clean air and clean track out front. So gonna be hard to catch and pass Blake at this, I think. Shane Hunter went right on board. Got a pretty good little race going back here. Let's check on it here for just a second. It's Tristan Marks has managed to keep Edward Nelson behind him, but Edward really wanting around and wanting that position. Joe Stifle just ahead of them, so this is kind of what's happening in the back of the field right now. David Nelson giving chase to them. A little bit further up in the field, James Andrew has really stuck well on the tail of Brett Stevens. So Brett Stevens in 6th position, James Andrew in 7th. So this is another pretty good battle that I am paying attention to. But, of course, no better battle than the one right here. And that's the way we want it. That's the way we like it. These guys are a heck of a show. Who's going to win this thing? A couple of laps from finding out. I think we might potentially get a white flag. It's next time by. They can make their way down into Canada Corner. Got about 15 seconds left in the race. We'll likely see a white flag this time by. We're below 2 minutes. See if they get a white flag waved at them here. Blake Reynolds, Michael Parker. Yep, there's the white flag. Chad Dick making a move, going down into 1. Can't make it work. Oh, this is close. They come, folks. Parker's got anything for for him. It's going to have to be now. Oh, a little bit of a bobble, it looked like, from Blake Reynolds. Pushing hard here. Pushing really hard. Is Michael willing to risk it, is the question. Now, we're going to call everybody still running across the line this race. Give them all a shout out. What a terrific race. This has been one of the better races we've seen. Chad Dick all over Shane Hunter in the back here. This is for third and fourth. Blake Reynolds, Michael Parker just ahead, battling, coming down to Canada corner for both sets of cars. Final lap here at Road America. Reynolds gets through there clean. He's just got a few more corners to hold off Michael. Wide. Here he comes. I think he's home free now, folks. I do not think Michael's going to be able to catch him up this hill. Blake Reynolds to the line. Going to be right inside with him. Checkered flag for Blake. Michael just behind him in second. Third position, Shane Hunter and Chad Dick in fourth. They hold on. Here comes Brian Sabelski in fifth. Takes the flag. Here they come in. Look at this. James Andrew managed to get around Brett Stevens in sixth. Brett Stevens falls back to seventh position. Gabriel Bono coming across the line in eighth. Here they come around the final corner in 9, 10, 11. This is Joe Steifel. Tristan Martz. David Nelson. Edward Nelson. A little bit further back for Edward Nelson. And then Brian Sohn, the last car to come in around. And that wraps up a terrific. And just to give you an appreciation for what was happening there at the end of that thing, Blake Reynolds, who we can see on the cool-down lap here, now won, but Michael Parker set the fastest lap on the last lap of the race. So here he is doing his burnouts, folks. Doing it down in that area where they celebrate for NASCAR. What a great place to do it. Remember seeing Chase Elliott doing a nice celebration down here. So a huge congratulations to Blake Reynolds, his first win of the series, and not unexpected. He did a terrific job, and he is burning this sucker down. I love it. Way to go, Blake. Nice win. All right, so final standings from Road America. Blake Reynolds takes the win. Michael Parker in second. Shane Hunter third. Chad Dick in. What a battle between those. Brian Sabelski with a solid run in fifth. James Andrew sixth. Brett Stevens with a little bit of a bobble at the seventh position, though. Still a phenomenal run. Gabriel Bono comes. Joe Steifel ninth, and round out our top 10. I want to thank all the drivers that were here. What a terrific race. And really watching these guys do it. So we will get the points updated. Just kind of, from what I can tell, got obviously Parker did what he was another podium. He didn't quite get but he did get the Blake Reynolds first win, and he may have a shot to get in the podium. The other guys, Sabelski, I think, did. Christian Martz might be the one back a little bit. See if I can get Blake Reynolds talk with us. channels. Still, so still, so patient with me. I have fun.
Hello.
Great. Sorry it took me a minute to get you in there. I was fumbling with some stuff on Discord. Wow, what a race. Thanks for coming by to speak with me here for a second. Finally put one together to get the win.
Yeah, feels good.
I
uh,
loved the burnout. Went down there where they celebrate in NASCAR these last couple of seasons. Kind of reminded me of Chase Elliott down there doing burnouts, burning the rubber off that sucker.
yeah, I remember that's they tell them now to do their celebrations. So I went down there. Unfortunately, iRacing's got a little extra. It felt like I was on a tectonic plate there around the seam. Like it was a weird like step bump, but oh well.
Yeah,
Didn't need the car anyway.
yeah, absolutely. That's a good place for them to celebrate. There's a lot of fans down in that area. Kind of a really cool place. And I was thinking he must watch the NASCAR races because he knew right to go right where he was supposed to go. And he didn't even have to be told.
Yep, it was a fun race.
Yeah,
I
tell me about it.
remembered.
Yeah.
I remembered. So I was on the grid, and I have a little caps fuel box thing, and I remembered from Le Mans it was a fuel race, and I just I looked at it. I'm like, oh, it says a point 0.3 to the good. I hope if I'm racing hard, it doesn't go down. We finished the pace lap, taped the green. It says I'm not good. So I'm like, uh
Uh-oh.
oh. So the first couple laps, if you notice, our lap times are terrible. I was just out front forcing the field pretty much to just save fuel. Um, and I just tried not to push the tires because typically what keeps happening in these races to me is I'll qualify second, fourth, maybe fifth sometimes. I'll get a jump, maybe get up to third, and Michael Parker just runs away.
Mm-hmm. It's
And then
hard to run him down. Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to run him down with a. And then I end up having a tire advantage because I just saved the tires. But it's very hard to catch him because he runs so far away. So I was like, I'm gonna see if I can get in front here, hold him up, and save some fuel.
Yeah,
So I did
well,
that for a bit. He got by me, and then I just stayed in the draft. And once I saw my fuel number was good, I was like, all right, and I went going. And then I realized in the draft, if you're in the draft at all, it saves like 0.02. So I ended up having a gallon and a half left at the end. We'd saved so much.
yeah, all four of you guys up front were really never more car links separated, siding from the drop of the green flag. And it's interesting to hear kind of what was happening from your perspective. It's also fun to watch the, couple, two or three changes as part of all that. So,
Yeah, it was entertaining from the car too. I barely got here. I I watched the F1 race and it was I don't know. I fell asleep during it and then I woke up again. I'm like, oh shoot, I've got like 5 minutes left of practice. I hop on here. I barely get. I think I do a quarter of a lap in the practice, and then I had my Q laps, and I ended up getting pole. This is one of my favorite tracks.
yeah,
I was formerly in the Coke Series, and we raced here twice, so I have thousands of laps here practicing.
yeah, this
Um,
is one of my favorites too. Just kind of an iconic track. I love the layout. So much to love about it. It's paid off for you to came in here to use all that familiarity to drive to your first win of the year. And not we'll have to total up the points, Blake. But I know you missed a race or two. Still have an outside shot at the podium. That strong finish today, and maybe back that up next week. Hawkins that third podium spot.
yeah, and I was kind of bummed I missed Spa. It was the same thing. I just woke up and looked at the time. And I'm like, oh, I just missed it.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, the Penguin RC Porsche Cup car. was looking good. It was driving good. And
Yeah,
shout out to Brian Son for sponsoring this and Penguin RC. You can go to shop.penguinrc.com. Use code Blake.
and get some cool stuff. Absolutely.
Yep,
Yeah, it was.
you can get a discount too.
That's nice. It was really nice to see the Penguin RC simulation car in time. So kudos to you, Blake. Well, hey, go back and enjoy the rest of the race that you slept through. Don't tell me what happened because I haven't watched it yet. And congrats on your own win this morning. Hope to see you at the season finale.
All right, thank you.
Have a good evening,
Too.
good day, and a good evening, and a good week.
You too.
Take care.
Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna just stop with Blake today because I was fiddling a little uh, controls and whatnot. There's a couple of changes I'm gonna have to make to the scored, so I'll do that. I'll get some of the guys that helped. What a great race! Boyd brings and it's updated. Tune in to our Twitch channel at the same time next week, back again to season finale. Watkins Glen all home. Another great year. And until then, this is David Anderson. Thank you for watching. Video posted. See you back here with CMS. Have a good rest of your day, everyone.